Hi, my name is Noah Meir. I'm the CEO of the Charney Forum for New Diplomacy. With us today is Berman, Chief Executive Officer of American Society of the University of Haifa. Can you please tell us a bit about the American Society of the University of Haifa, its vision and activities?
American Society for University of Haifa is the U.S. external relations, marketing, and fundraising arm of the University of Haifa. Our mission and our goal is to connect the university to its U.S.-based supporters, partners, its alumni, and really anyone that it wants to engage with in the United States. Under normal times, our activities range everything from bringing over some of our professors and experts to meet with different universities here, to meet with some of our supporters, to engage potential donors. We host different events. We'll host seminars. We have 11 employees across the United States. We will go and travel and meet in order to communicate the vision of the university. Today, much more of these activities are taking place online and on the telephone.
So as you started saying, times are changing and obviously we're in a different reality right now. Still, we don't have enough perspective. There's no hindsight yet. When you look at what's happening now that we're 2 months into COVID, what do you think are possible implications of COVID on philanthropy and on education?
So I'm going to start with philanthropy, or particularly the kind of philanthropy in which I've been engaged, which is connecting U.S. supporters or people living in the U.S. with Israel. In the past, most of the types of philanthropy that I've done have been face-to-face, that when you're trying to engage with people, when you're trying to connect to what their vision is, to how they want to have real impact, the best way to do this is to really meet with them, because you're talking about significant contributions of time and sometimes significant contributions of dollars. And it's often things that are very emotional and very meaningful to people and to their families. And so it's hard to get to know that and to form that connection with people over the phone, even over a video conference, although the technology is getting better. I take the responsibility of helping someone invest those dollars very seriously. And so you're also building a relationship of trust. I think that sort of process in that relationship has not changed for a very long time. I mean, there's a long history of philanthropy in the United States. I mean, that process and that relationship building has really stayed the same, even in the last 15, 20 years, as you've seen more telephone and more electronic options. And if only thing, I think travel has gotten even more common, for my peers and myself. We travel more maybe than now. We really have to find ways to make those connections and to continue those connections without being face to face. And certainly how we can connect people to the mission, and particularly to Israel, without them going there. This has provided us with a great opportunity. Now we can bring professors to them. We can bring scientists to them much more easily, because that's the only option. And so people, I think, get used to dealing with this format. You get a little bit more of an opportunity, but you're still having to change the way people have done business in the past.
As you said, people that initially you would maybe bring to Israel because they need to actually understand it. Obviously, that option is not on the table right now. So do you think it's going to impact fundraising efforts?
Right now, the biggest impact is on the economic situation. The most important thing for everyone is their personal safety, that of their family, and there's so much uncertainty. So I think that's the first thing. Ultimately, people are still going to be philanthropic. What people want, I think, from philanthropy is they want to make sure they're investing their dollars and their effort where they can have real change and they can have real impact. Our challenge is always to show them how that's happening. And now we have a new way of showing them. I don't think it should decrease over time, and perhaps we're opening up new avenues for communication and new opportunities to engage people with either subjects that they might not have thought about before, or even people and places that they might not have been able to reach before. I mean, education is definitely going to change, and I think that's another field where change was coming, and now it's coming much faster. At the university, we shifted almost overnight, like all the universities in Israel. Overnight, we were delivering over 500 classes to 18,000 students. And it was not without challenges. A lot of our students come from smaller villages or more remote areas in the north, and they don't have Wi-Fi at home. they have phones and they have data. We're getting everyone hotspots and getting them computers. And what we've seen is we have the opportunity to reach a much bigger audience than we could get to campus. And that's always been the mission for University of Haifa, right? That we have the potential to be that University of the North. We could now, certainly for students who may not be able to afford to come to campus or who are reluctant to leave home, they could do their first semester online, or some of our larger classes could be delivered online, and there could be in-person seminars that take place regionally once a week, and it offers a lot of flexibility. And I know these are models that are being talked about in the United States as well. You're going to see a hybrid. And I think when universities started looking at online education here in the United States, most of them never envisioned, I mean, there are some online only, but the larger universities never envisioned it was going to be purely online, but they saw the large lecture could be delivered anywhere. And then you have these 2 or 3 times a week seminars. And for us, we've had a vision of a multi-campus and larger audience. It's an opportunity for us to accelerate that vision.
Actually, the forum that was established 2 years ago by Tilly Charney, and one key aspect is the field of diplomacy. And what used to be primarily government to government nowadays is a lot more, has been sort of spread within more people to people. COVID has exacerbated that disruption that was caused as a result of information. One of the things that we really do, one of the main things, is to offer content to diverse target audiences. We really look for organizations that are wanting to improve their skills and their know-how in navigating this information age. What you think of the advantages of Charney Forum for Diplomacy as a hybrid of academia and sort of a hands-on programming?
First of all, I think that the model that's emerged, Charney Forum has been able to leverage, is an incredibly important one. Because as you said, so much of the diplomacy is much more kind of person to person and not like official leader to official leader. And one could argue, is it because we have less trust in our political leaders? And so we created this because we had to. In the United States, we always say politics is local, right? So in some ways, this is just local politics on an international scale. That response from someone who's on the ground, who really knows what's going on, is very important. You know, the challenge becomes, how do you know what's real, right? How do you know when it's someone credible or someone just typing stuff? The partnerships and the sort of hybrid with academia is why I think it's very important. I think universities serve very important roles in society. I mean, the first and foremost is providing education to people who need it and to getting people into the workforce and creating a middle class. They're kind of, in the Western world, the protectors of our democracy, right? Because this is where people come and they learn about new ideas and they learn about things that they wouldn't have learned. And it's where we protect freedom of speech. And when a university can take that and give it credibility, lend its credibility to something like the Charney Forum, or in this case, we can take our sort of third party perspective, and then you can take all the kind of the skills of the Charney Forum and what it's able to do and what it's able to represent, is able to leverage all of that, you know. And so I think these kinds of partnerships are more important than ever. There's so many different reasons why we're exploring other avenues besides the official ones, that you have to have collaborations among institutions that are credible. If the government was enough, then we wouldn't need the Charney Forum, and we wouldn't need as many universities as we need. But that doesn't exist anymore, because information isn't top down, and people need to develop their own opinions, and they need guidance in understanding what is real information and what isn't. And at least they need people to tell them how to learn how to make that decision for themselves, right? So you said you're trying to bring a lot of different perspectives, and that's exactly it. You guys aren't basically saying, here's what to believe, but you are helping people learn how to form that critical opinion. And that is incredibly important. Universities are trying to do that too, mainly on academic subjects, although we teach political science and things like that. There have to be other institutions that can drive forward changing needs of society all the time, and government, and harnessing the power of political thought. Things like Charney Forum or think tanks or other institutions, even museums or stuff like that, will just become more critical. And obviously the interplay among all of them are going to continue to to change. And that's not necessarily because of COVID, it's because of our society is evolving. But you need to have these sort of cooperations, not because it's the next pandemic. What's the next discovery? What's the next book that's going to be published, or the next artist that is emerging, or something like that? And so how are any of us going to find that on our own?